I know what you're thinking. It is just not possible to feed a family anymore for less than like $300 to $400 a week, because I hear that all the time. The news, the media, everybody tells you it's just not possible. Well, if you're new here, my name's Jen. This is Low Dough Family, where we show you ways to feed your family on much less than the average. And we're not talking about eating peanut butter and jelly and ramen all week. Nope, no way, literally. So let's look at this week's menu, because we are going to do 6 yummy dinners plus a dessert, and we're going to stay under $70. These meals do typically feed a family of 4, which is assuming you have 2 adults and 2 kids. Now, if your family is bigger than that, or your kids are teenagers, you may need to adjust a little bit as needed, but I highly doubt that you would have to spend $400. So let's look and see what's on the menu. Here is our overview this week. You'll see we have a nice mix, and we actually found some good deals this week at Walmart. So we're actually having a lot of items that use ground beef. In the past, you've seen we used a lot of ground turkey and we use a lot of chicken. So this is kind of a different twist than we've done recently. Let's look at our grocery list. Here is our grocery list for the week. And before I forget, go look down below. I've got a couple links for you. The first link goes to my website, where you can see all of the slides as well as print your own free version. So it will have the shopping list. It'll have all the recipes. It prints out, I think, on 4 or 5 pages. Super simple. The second link goes directly to walmart.com, and you can see my entire shopping list and every single item that I got for this menu and the prices. But here's the kicker. My prices are from Independence, Missouri. Okay, I don't personally live there. One of our followers do, and I requested zip codes for, areas that you wanted me to check, and this is this week's. So if you don't live in Independence, Missouri, you can still do this menu, but what you want to do is up in the upper left-hand corner, you're going to change the zip code to your area store, and then it'll give you what the local prices are for you. In most areas, the price comes out within a few dollars. Every once in a while, you will notice that there is an item that might be regional, and it'll just have a crazy wackadoodle price on it. But that's okay. So go through the list. If you see anything that's just way higher than normal, you would just want to switch it out for something that's available cheaper locally. But so I also want to mention that we have a pretty good pantry list this week. So I want you to make sure to check your pantry and your fridge and your freezer for any of these items, because that's another way to easily get your shopping total less. So our total came out to $67.41, which was definitely under budget. So you've got some wiggle room. So even if you needed everything, you could still grab a couple extras or get a little bit more of certain items. No biggie. Let's get into our first recipe. Now, I remember as a kid, when you had meatloaf, it was either like this giant blob, or it was in like a big loaf pan, and it took like an hour, hour and a half, and it was kind of dry, or, it had some issues. So for the longest time, I did not eat meatloaf at all, until I realized that you could do the mini meatloaves. I don't remember where I saw that. But so today we're going to do the mini barbecue meatloaves. Now, before you get upset, I know some people don't like barbecue. Totally fine. You could easily switch the barbecue out for ketchup, or you can use like a tomato glaze. You could also skip the glaze completely and just do a brown gravy on the stove. There's always ways to adapt and kind of change it around to what'll work for your family. No big deal. So with these mini meatloaves, they literally take so much less. You can usually get them fully completed and ready to go in about 45 minutes, and that includes the potatoes. One of my favorite ways to do potatoes is just a basic roasted potato. You're going to chop it in whatever desired form. Where I cut the potato in half and then chop it down, so you get maybe like 8 pieces per potato. For an extra large one, I cut them in half again. But you're just going to mix them with a drizzle of oil and whatever your favorite seasonings. I typically tend to go with like a garlic and herb blend, or like French fry seasoning, which I think I got at Big Lots. Super yummy. And then we're just going to do a side of green beans. Now, of course, the green beans, my kids like them very plain. They don't like a lot of extra seasoning added onto them. So I can get away with just microwaving them. If you want to add a little extra seasoning, you can saute them in a pan. You could add some butter. You can add whatever things you want. In the past, I've done like Worcestershire sauce or fresh garlic, lots of options there. Oh, and I do want to mention the barbecue sauce that I picked out was one of those little $1 bottles, which is right about a third of a cup. So most of us already have barbecue sauce at home though, so you may not need to buy that. The next one is going to be a chicken avocado ranch wrap, and we are going to use a rotisserie chicken. Now, at Walmart, a rotisserie chicken, fresh out of the steamy hot goodness, usually runs about $6-7. But I recently saw that if you buy one from the chilled case, where it's more of a refrigerated and it's cold, it's almost half the price. And since we're not planning on buying the rotisserie chicken, taking it home and eating it right then, it really doesn't matter that it's already been refrigerated. So on this first night, what I would do is go ahead and pull all the chicken off of the bird, the bones, because why do 2 days worth of work when you can just get it all done now? So we're going to need about 1 to 2 cups of the cooked chicken. I just like to shred it because I think it's easier that way, but you can do however you like on that. And then we're going to save about a third of that chicken for another dish later on. And so this is a super simple, really a no cook item, because you're going to take your tortillas, you're going to put down some ranch dressing, put some of your chicken, top it with lettuce, tomato, avocado, maybe some shredded cheese. And then we're just going to have easy side dishes. We'll do some slices of cucumber. You can dip those in ranch. And then mangoes are actually still in season right now. You can get a whole mango, and I think it's like $1.24, which is not bad. And honestly, you don't need a whole lot of mango. You just want that flavor, and it kind of breaks it up, and it's really, really yummy. Now, our next dish is going to be a beef and broccoli over rice. Now, I wouldn't really call this like an Oriental one. This is definitely kind of an American version because it's not going to use a lot of traditional like Oriental flavors. So this one is really yummy, but I will let you know that if you don't care for cream of mushroom or just mushrooms in general, you can leave out the mushrooms. You can switch it out to like a cream of celery or a cream of broccoli. This is just a really good, yummy dish. It's very filling, and I usually do it kind of rice bowl style. So totally up to you. If you're not a fan of broccoli or peppers and onions, you can easily switch this out for any frozen or fresh vegetables. The recipes that I try to show you are really just good bases where you can switch them up to what your family likes, and then boom, you have dinner. I do always put on that it's white rice, just plain white rice, and that's simply because that's the cheapest option. If you like basmati or jasmine rice or anything, that's totally fine. You can even do like a brown rice or a quinoa. Don't get stuck on the ingredients, especially if you already have some of these items at home. Switch it up to what you have. Now that we're back to using our oven, I am a huge fan of super easy sheet pan meals. Now for this one, we are going to do a sausage and pepper sheet pan and make sandwiches. And we're going to have a side of potato salad with that. So I typically go ahead and do the potatoes first just because it takes a while to boil them. And then I just do very simple mayo, mustard. I do like to add just a little bit of pickle juice because that is my new favorite secret ingredient. And it just gives it a little bit of tang. It's not overwhelming though. And you can add whatever seasonings you like to the potato salad. For the actual peppers and sausage part, we're going to use half a bag of this peppers and onions. It's a good amount, and this is actually something I make at home all the time. So when I see bell peppers, especially like the red, yellow, or orange ones, those can be kind of pricey if you just buy them on any random week. But I see them on markdown or I see them on a really good deal. I'll buy a whole bunch of them and I'll go ahead and clean them and chop them. And then I put them in my freezer in like a Ziploc. And depending on how many I have, I usually just do like a medium dice, or sometimes I do slices. And then at any time, you can just grab a handful and put them in your dish. Whether you're doing something on the stove or in the oven, it's just super convenient. And then it's also super cheap. So anywho, for this, Italian sausages have like a skin casing on them. And so sometimes they're a little bit difficult to cut. It just really depends on what kinds you get. I usually like to cut them up smaller into like medallions, but that's because I have smaller kids. If you don't want to do that, you can absolutely leave them whole. I would just keep an eye on them and maybe flip them like every 5 to 6 minutes versus waiting, 20 to 25 minutes. So we're just going to put our items on there. And then once they are fully cooked in the oven, you can go ahead and sprinkle your cheese on top of your sausage and onion and get them all melty. Or you can go ahead and put them in your hoagie buns, then top them with cheese, put them back in the oven for 5 minutes. There's really no wrong way to go with this. And this totally reminds me of like the sausage, pepper, and onion sandwiches that you used to get at the fair. I don't even know if they still sell that. I just know they were expensive and I love them. But this is kind of the inspiration for that. So let's go to the next one. Now, during the summertime, I don't usually do pizzas, like homemade pizzas a lot because I'm trying not to use my oven. But for the rest of the year, I actually love to make what I call leftover pizza. That's not pizza I already made. That's where I take all my leftovers and I make a pizza. And this is one of my favorite. It's that chicken bacon ranch flavors, but we're going to do it pizza style. Now, typically, I'm going to go ahead and make my pizza dough from scratch using like a stand-up mixer and some yeast and flour, and it's super simple. And that's totally an option. But if you don't have a stand-up mixer or you're kind of strapped on cash, these pizza dough mixes are super easy. Most of them just require water. Some of them require a tablespoon or so of oil. You'll just have to read the directions of the pack that you get. Now, usually you just mix it with a fork. You want it to get nice and just where everything's combined. You make a ball. I usually spray the pan or spray my bowl. And then once I have my dough ball in there, I put a piece of plastic wrap over it and let it rise. Usually it says, I think 10 to 15 minutes, but I tend to go 20 to 30 minutes just because I like that kind of airy crust. And so do whatever, works for you and your time period. But then I think this particular one, it has you kind of pre-bake the crust for like 5 minutes. So you can do that if you make it from scratch. You don't have to pre-bake it. And then we're going to use the ranch dressing as our sauce. I love white sauce pizzas. And here's the trick. I see a lot of people put like a ton of sauce in there, and then their pizza, it's kind of gooey. So I tend to go lighter on the sauce. So I squirt a little bit. I use the back of a spoon and kind of spread it out. I really just want to be able to see the ranch dressing all over the place. And then I put just a good sprinkling of cheese, not very heavy. I put all my toppings. So in this case, it's going to be the pre-cooked bacon, some tomato slices, the leftover chicken. And then once all that's there, then I put the rest of the cheese on top. And then I usually add some jalapenos because we love spicy. And I just put them on the side that we're going to eat and the side that the kids are going to eat. I just leave those off. But really look through your fridge. You might have some other items you want to put in here. Mushrooms would be good with this. Really anything. If you have leftover spinach, I love spinach on a pizza. And then you're just going to bake this off. And we're just going to do a simple side salad because we have the tomatoes. We probably have some leftover cucumber from the other night. We have some lettuce. Hey, we already have ranch dressing, but you can use whatever dressing you already have. So super, super simple. And this is also one kids love to help, assemble a pizza. You could even do this as little mini pizzas instead of one big pizza. There's lots of options here. Now, towards the end of the week, I am always down for what I call just a dump in a pot and bring to a boil kind of meal. And this is that. We're going to start with some ground beef and we're just going to cook that off. We're going to cook it with the onion. Once everything's fully cooked and tender, we're going to drain off that grease. Unless you like grease, and then keep it. Totally up to you. We're going to add a pack of taco seasoning. We're going to stir it really well. You can skip the part where it has you add water because we're already going to add some liquid to this. So to this, we are also going to add pinto beans, canned corn, tomato sauce, and then diced tomatoes with chili. Now, I don't drain the liquid from this because I want to have that liquid. But here's the thing. Maybe this should be more like taco stew, but you can add more water if you want. We tend to like this to where it's more of like a taco chili, if you will. But that's the great thing about soup. You can thin it or you can thicken it. You do it however you want. I bring it all up to a boil and then I cook it over medium heat for about 20-30 minutes just so that everything gets nice, and the flavors kind of meld and stir it a couple times. And then when we're going to serve this, we top it with some shredded cheese, some sour cream, and then we do tortilla chips. My kids like to do this more as like a dip, so that's why we tend to go at more thick. They're not really into like thinner type soups, but like I said, if you want this to be thinner, you can easily add some water, some chicken broth, whatever you like there. And then this is also one of those because it does have a nice thickness to it. When I have leftovers, usually once I put it in the fridge, it kind of really thickens up. And then it is, oh my God, so yummy. If you put it over a baked potato, if you make nachos out of it, there's lots of options here. Okay, let's get over to that dessert because it is yummy. So I make this joke over on the Facebook page that I really do like the pumpkin flavor, the pumpkin spice thing, but I feel like pumpkin spice has just gone like crazy. Like you can even get deodorant in pumpkin spice, and that's just too much for me. And I'm not one of those that buys a lot of candles or like fragrancy type products, but I do like pumpkin pie. Okay. And so we're calling it pumpkin fluff, but really it's kind of like a pumpkin pie dip. And it's so simple. You're just going to take a can of pumpkin, a box of instant vanilla pudding, and then some pumpkin spice. And you just mix that all together and then you fold it in with the whipped topping. Now, really, you could just let this refrigerate for about an hour, but I find that it's really good if you make this the night before and let it refrigerate, and then it kind of keeps its thickness and it just all the flavors really meld. It's kind of like when you have pumpkin pie and it's still hot. It tastes okay, but to me, chilled pumpkin pie that's like leftovers so much better. And then you can really use whatever you like to dip in this. You can use graham crackers, ginger snaps, or vanilla wafers or Nilla wafers. But honestly, I have found the kicker is cinnamon graham crackers. Okay, they are so yummy. My kids like them plain. And so when I tried them with this dip, I was like, oh, this takes it up to the next level. Excuse me, my allergies are. Ugh. Anyhow, I've been toying with the idea of switching this up and doing chocolate uh, pudding. And I haven't tried it yet, but I think that would be really good too. You could probably even do it with like, don't they have like a caramel or a butterscotch? So you can get creative with this. If you had one at home, I would just go ahead and try it. Okay. If you've made it all the way to this point, I just want to say thank you. And hey, you're awesome. I really appreciate it. Now, don't forget to go down below to where the links are. Go to the website, download the free printable, sign up for our email list. We send out an email once a week. That's it. We don't spam you. And it just gives you a recap of our week and some links to items you may have missed. It's also the way that you get the sneak preview of the menu because the menu does not officially launch until Saturday morning. So you get it early on YouTube or you can get it early in your email box. Either way is fine. And then don't forget to check us out on Facebook. Just search Lojo Family. We have lots of content over there. We do lots of giggles and just some really interesting stuff. And we have discussions. It's just a good place to go hang out and basically hang out with like minded people. Now, we also have a Facebook group called Meal Planning for All, and that link's down below. If you're struggling with meal planning, you want more ideas, you want to see other people's meal plans, or if you just want to ask other people, hey, I have so much of this item, what can I make with that? Perfect spot to do that. So I hope you all have a wonderful week. I cannot believe it is already middle of September. Like, I feel like, we blinked and boom, September happens, and then I'm going to blink again and it's going to be Halloween. So that's my issues. Hopefully, you guys will have a wonderful weekend and we will start fresh next week. See you later. Bye.